We begin with a measurable fact in America right now. Things are not okay. Troops in the streets, federal agents killing in broad daylight, President Trump openly defying laws, DOJ abusing powers against his enemies list as Trump pockets hundreds of millions, stoking questions about whether he's acting for the public, himself, or some purchased foreign agenda. This is the state of the union as the U.S. marks over 1 year since Trump was sworn back in. This is a time to assess the president's policies in a typical era. But this is no typical era. So tonight, our special report is on how America's bedrock guardrails are holding up. First, in government and among the wider public. How the government checks are doing and how the American people are meeting the challenge. Now, Trump's rushed, rule-busting governing can actually overwhelm the system, making it harder to even see what's happening over this past year or where his plots worked or failed. So this new report tracks each key guardrail. And I'm going to walk you through this. Some guardrails are holding up, marked green, like lawsuits. Some are a mixed bag, a mixed record, like how we can measure the police military complex trying to patrol us at home. That's yellow, for example, and others are failing, like the DOJ, clearly marked red. Now, for our democracy, if you see the glass half empty, you'll notice some of the red. Others may find encouragement in the green. But I want to share one more truth before we dig into this special report tonight. Donald Trump tries to scramble any limits on power with spectacle, shock, and awe, a playbook to instill fear or hopelessness or both, so that giving in is pitched as some sort of inevitable next step. Reality actually shows the opposite. People standing up, fighting, and winning even against lying, cheating, violence, and that convicted sedition. And against a political figure who, remember, got fewer votes in 2 of his 3 elections, lost the midterms last time, loses in the courts a lot, and was the first president ever indicted, along with 8 of his aides getting convicted.
President Trump acknowledging that Joe Biden will be president.
For the first time in U.S. history, a former president is facing federal criminal charges.
But did not take responsibility for the mob of his supporters who breached the Capitol.
President Trump taking the oath of office for the second time in the Capitol Rotunda.
More than 1,500 pardons or commutations in all for the people who violently stormed the U.S. Capitol.
President Trump says nearly every federal agency in the U.S. government could fall under the scrutiny of Elon Musk.
Jimmy Kimmel back on air overnight.
The hard work of improving New Yorkers' lives starts now.
This is the most American thing that you can do. Protest and speak for what you believe in.
Those are the stakes. Our report now begins with government guardrails. The founders were most concerned that the new democracy could be hijacked by a wannabe king. And they made checks inside the executive, staff bound by the Constitution, not a politician's whims. Officials must resist orders that break the law. And the epicenter for that is DOJ, which did patrol Trump in his first term, even appointing special counsel Mueller because Trump's team could not investigate itself. Now the DOJ is failing that independence this term. Some officials have resisted orders to lie in court or abuse power against Trump's enemies, even resigning, but the line hasn't held. Trump's former personal lawyers, Bondi and Blanche, run the DOJ like Trump's political machine, probing rivals in cases so weak, several dropped long before trial. New plots against the Fed chair this month, new probes of Minnesota Democrats added to this chart breaking today, and even 1 or 2 questionable cases of illegal selective prosecution. That's bad. But right now, it's 14 such cases. The very enemies list Bondi disclaimed under oath. So our reporting finds the DOJ's internal guardrail is failing. The red you see here. Trump doing in 1 year this term what he never did in his first 4 years, breaking the DOJ into an unlawful arm of his agenda. And as Russia and countless autocracies show, if the government can get away with indicting anyone for nothing, then you don't have a full opposition or a full democracy. Then there's the use of soldiers and militarized policing on American soil. Trump seizing National Guards without their governors, deploying ICE agents in places that voted against him, leading to escalation, to violence, and the ICE agent killing Renee Good. Now, judges have slowly trimmed some of those deployments. But remember, the founders devoted the Third Amendment to stop soldiers from being forced onto citizens. Federal law bars the military from policing at home. And yet the military has been deployed in 6 cities and counting. This guardrail is clearly faltering, and Trump's floating even broader emergency powers, or the Insurrection Act. Now, the courts are the ultimate authority in our system. They limit politicians' power. They resolve what the law says. They're the last word on elections. And I want to show you, if you really measure it, the court's record this past year is mixed. They've tangled with DOJ lawyers. They've clearly ruled against some of Trump's lawless moves. We count about 13 major rulings against him. But the Supreme Court has also allowed, even rewarded Trump ploys to evade the law or run out the clock. And so that's a measure there. Then you have something we all remember. Judges are just on the receiving end. But the doors to the courthouse right now are still open and working. There's been a flood of lawsuits against Trump actions in year 1. And if you count up and actually look at this, something he may want to distract you from, about half have won steps to slow or block unlawful acts, with many still pending. Those 358 major suits are seen across the country, part of the many losses Trump has been dealt this first year. In fact, so many losses, it's hard to remember them all.
We removed the public safety threat, gang member, designated terrorist.
The Supreme Court says the Trump administration must facilitate the return of a Maryland man deported to a Salvadorian prison.
The government admitted it mistakenly deported him.
Elon Musk's time in the White House has officially come to an end.
This feels like a reality show character being kind of slowly written off.
I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Jimmy Kimmel back on air overnight.
Anyway, as I was saying before I was interrupted.
This is not partisan. We're asking for you to stand with us now to release all of the files.
It's never been political for us.
2/3 being in the affirmative. The rules are suspended. The bill is passed.
Donald Trump put his surrender and humiliation in writing in capital letters in a tweet saying, "I have just signed the bill to release the Epstein files."
There is no legal, factual, or moral justification for President Trump to deploy any military troops or National Guard units here in Chicago.
The Supreme Court blocked the Trump administration from deploying the National Guard in Illinois.
A lot of those losses from the lawsuits. That guardrail is working. Now, the founders also predicted that ambition would check ambition. And this isn't one you even need a chart for. That has not been the case in this Republican Congress. Infamously meek. Republicans don't even defend their own elected congressional power, let alone checking the president for seizing tariff and foreign policy powers or doing anything about one of the biggest stories of this past year, his corrupt and dangerous grifting, which breaks the Constitution's ban on foreign gifts, taking a jet from a foreign country, hundreds of millions in crypto. It dwarfs all White House corruption scandals. And so as we mark this year in the guardrails, let's be clear, it's one of the greatest violations of U.S. government guardrails ever.
His family's expanding business interests in the Middle East are facing fresh scrutiny.
Blurring the lines between business and government.
The Trump organization has plans for luxury skyscrapers, golf courses, and a deal involving cryptocurrency.
My goodness me. $5 billion?
Eye-popping numbers.
President Trump preparing to accept a luxury jet from the royal family of Qatar.
The jet is just the latest in a series of actions taken by the president that flout ethics norms.
It's crypto-friendly legislation coming from the president of the United States, who is in turn cashing in on the crypto phase. Personally, his family.
The single largest corrupt gift in the history of gifts.
Facts. Patrolling a president's self-enrichment and violating the Constitution, that's up to Congress. And Republicans have completely failed. They didn't even join a plan to just block your taxpayer dollars from being used to upgrade what is now Donald Trump's personal jet gift. It's one of several examples where the GOP Congress just fails as a guardrail. By contrast, many states are stepping up. They're using their powers to resist those deployments. They take the administration to court in legal ways that not everyone can do. They're using state mechanisms. In fact, we count 23 major suits from the states. This is the Constitution's federalism. this guardrail is working, and states also protect elections. And that brings us, of course, to the people's checks on Trump, which is actually an area very interesting that, according to the numbers, is working better